The Webdvar for Pesach is sponsored by Adam and Michelle Malik in memory of Michelle's mother, Mrs. Carol Jacobson, Kayla Bas Label, may the Neshama have an Aliyah. When Rav Levi Yitzchak of Barditchev became the Rav of Barditchev, a number of the very important congregants came over to him and said to him, "We have a problem with the way the matzos are baked here in Barditchev." What's the problem, asked Rav Levi Yitzchak? So he was told that those who were in charge of the matzah baking, of the matzah bakeries, those individuals were not being stringent enough when it came to the halachos. They were leaving some of the important chumros to the side, and they were relying heavily on leniencies. And so Rav Levi Yitzchak said, "Okay, call them to me, and I will talk to them." So they gather all of the matzah bakers. I would assume that there was only less than a handful of people who baked the matzahs. And they came to Rav Levi Yitzchak, and Rav Levi Yitzchak says to them, "I understand that you're keeping certain halachos in a certain way. I want you to make sure that please do not put any blood in the matzahs." And here all of the bakers turn to Rav Levi Yitzchak and look at him, and they're astonished. What does he mean? Put blood in the matzahs? Put blood, Rahman litzlan, God forbid. Jews don't put blood in matzahs. So he says to them, as they're waiting for a response from him as to explain himself, so Rav Levi Yitzchak says to them, "No, I don't mean that you would put literally Jewish blood in matzahs, or any blood for that matter. What I mean is that not physically blood, but on an emotional and spiritual level, that the peoples, particularly the women who are working so hard to actually bake the matzahs, that you be working them so hard because of all of these stringencies that you feel pressured by the community to keep, that unfortunately what will end up happening is that people will be worked so hard that they will get sick, and they will resent and regret everything that they have done, and it will just end up being a very terrible experience." And so the lesson that Rav Levi Yitzchak gave to the heads of the matzah bakeries was a very powerful one, that we shouldn't be involved with chumras, with extra stringencies, at someone else's expense. And I think this is an important lesson when it comes to Pesach in our own homes and with our own families. Preparations for Pesach should be a family preparation. It shouldn't be exclusively one spouse or one member of the family. Everyone should have their own responsibilities when it comes to preparations for Pesach. And if one spouse wants to be machmir, wants to be stringent when it comes to certain things, then that spouse should keep in mind that the areas upon which they want to be stringent more than the halacha dictates, then they should be the ones to work harder and make sure that those chumros, that those stringencies are kept. But to keep those chumras at the expense of one spouse or other family members, which would prevent those family members from properly celebrating and enjoying the Yom Tov because they become so exhausted and so overwhelmed that they're not able to enjoy the holiday of Pesach, that, based on the teaching of Rav Levi Yitzchak, is not only troublesome, but that's really tragic and unfortunate. May we be zoche that as we prepare for Pesach, and we prepare as best as we can according to the halacha, and we keep every single halacha, but as we prepare for Pesach, we ensure that we all combine, we all put in an effort to make sure that everyone in our homes is able to celebrate, commemorate, and feel like a free person on the Leil HaSeder and throughout Pesach. Chag kosher v'sameach, and have a good Shabbos.